Obredotro, Gat Morgen, Guten Tag, Buenos dias, Bonjour, Ogenki desu ka? Ni hao ma, Namaste, Namaskaram, and good morning. I wanted to call attention to an author, and in particular, that author, I believe it's his latest book, but this author is somebody whom I feel to my own detriment, have neglected, have overlooked, a person, an author, a writer, who I believe got kind of lost in the shuffle as far as my own personal investigations and whatnot, and because essentially my whole introduction to this world, if you will, this world of UFOlogy and alternate history, alternate perspectives on origins and whatnot, was all quite by chance, through just a random person loaning me a book, and that book was Zecharia Sitchin's The 12th Planet, which I maintained that there was my life before reading Zecharia Sitchin's The 12th Planet, and then there was life after. It was that important of a book, of a intellectual sort of crossroads, and just new perspective on things. So anyway, the author whom I'm referring to is Eric von Däniken. Hopefully I said his name correctly, Eric von Däniken, and and this book in particular, The Gods Never Left Us, the long-awaited sequel to the world bestseller Chariots of the God, and that Chariots of the God was actually, I believe, written, well, when Chariots of the God was published 50 years ago. But in my understanding, Chariots of the God was written before Zecharia Sitchin's work. I don't know, how all that, what the timeline was exactly, but I've never really saw any kind of conflict between the two, body of knowledge and the works and whatnot. There very well may be. Essentially, it's same sort of investigation and body of knowledge as far as I understand. But anyway, this book, and the reason why I'm making this video, because I wanted to, like, Zecharia Sitchin's, and it was just what I remember from when I read that book, and that was like back in, and I have the book and I've referred to it, since this first exposure to it, which was probably back in early 2000, 2004, 2005, in that area when I first read Zecharia Sitchin. But anyway, and then this book, Chariot, or The Gods Never Left Us, is a book that I was able to get, and I actually have an autographed copy of it that I cherish. And I've been kind of by kind of going through it, picking through it. But I'm going to tell you, it's very impressive. And what I was saying about Zecharia Sitchin's, I remember that just as, it's just like this stream of just new knowledge. But the thing about Eric von Däniken that I wanted to share and call attention to is his writing style, and it's almost like, yeah, okay, this is a book about ancient astronauts, and how our timeline as humans, where we came from, how things have developed. But this guy, his knowledge and his, I don't know, I just think that there's a lot of bang for the buck. Let's put it this way. There's a lot of things that he talks about. Like, you may have a chapter that's talking about artificial intelligence, but in the process of him sharing his viewpoints on artificial intelligence, he's almost every sentence and everything he says, it's like, man, it's just knowledge. It's perspective, really. And his perspective is awesome because he just has a lot of good thoughts. He's got a good quality mind from what I've seen in my estimation and judgments and calculations. So, I shared this the other day about where he's talking about how, unique humans are and, how different we are. But for example, he's talking about how unique we are and artificial intelligence. He goes, how did we conceive of the idea of artificial intelligence in the first place? The idea has been stalking through science fiction literature since time immemorial, but it became official on April 7th, 1990. That is when the American Dr. Marvin Lee Minsky, professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, received the prize of the Science and Technology Foundation of Japan. He received it expressly for his concept of artificial intelligence. The prize was presented to him in the National Theater of Tokyo in the presence of the Japanese imperial couple. Marvin Minsky had started studied the abilities of our brain as a young man and had raised the question, if the brain is a kind of machine and if consciousness only arises because electrons and neurons are whizzing about causing an effect, then it should be possible to bring about the same effect artificially. Here, crucial differences between a brain and a computer very quickly became apparent. Our brain functions because about 100 billion neurons exchange messengers between one another and create a cognitive system through these connections, the so-called synapses. Because each nerve cell can pass on hundreds of contacts, a neural network is created in the human brain of up to 100 billion connections. The crucial factor here is that these neurons functions as a network, while with a computer, the commands are executed consecutively. Okay, so he's kind of, but then let's see what else. So when our eyes see a mountain landscape or our grandmother, they know in an instant what it is. On the way, in his brochure, Auf dem Weg zu intelligenten Systemen, on the way to intelligent, Professor Rolf. So he's talking about, various scientists and artificial intelligence. He says it can, and he's talking about, let's see, the phenomenon was known as human memory behaves in exactly the same way. The more it knows, the faster it can find specific information. The phenomenon, so this talking about the phenomenon of the more information, the faster it can find specific information. And this phenomenon is known as expert paradox. Then in March, British neuroscientist Dennis programmed a self-learning computer with the software AlphaGo. The game Go is considered to be incredibly complex. 30 million moves were entered. And lo and behold, the computer beat the best Go player, the South Korean Lee Sedol. A total of 5 games were played. AlphaGo won 4 of them. Beforehand, the computer with its program had played innumerable times against itself, and in doing so, constantly reprogrammed and improved itself. That is called a learning artificial intelligence. Will we humans therefore soon be duped by AI? And are the ETs out there who influence our history and observe us nothing other than artificial intelligence? It cannot be ruled out. Nonetheless, a person like Elon Musk says that we are in a simulation. Anyway, yet our brain is much more sophisticated than the program AlphaGo because each human being is unique, but each artificial intelligence is not. Excuse me? The human brain is constantly programmed from birth. That can be shown with an example. And he's talking about, here's some interesting, I think this is kind of the area I was looking at the other day. This is what compromises the uniqueness of each person, not just a matter of thoughts that a computer may be able to reproduce. It is a matter of the memories, feelings, emotions, words, and sounds that together comprise the spirit. This spirit cannot be confined. Information can be. Have the extraterrestrials somewhere stored a piece of information for us, ready to be called up? All large organizations have stores of their knowledge. Second world is Swiss blasted tunnels. So he's talking about here different data centers. Mormon Church, with its headquarters, Salt Lake City, has for decades registered all available data of humanity. Did you know that? The Church of Scientology operates a vast bunker system under the desert of New Mexico between Santa Fe and Amarillo, New Mexico. The Trementina base contains 140 tons of books and writings, 140 tons. So these are different data centers, I guess. And then what are the archives of the ETs? Are there any kind of extraterrestrial legacies on Earth? Enoch, who was instructed by the ETs thousands of years ago, told his son before his departure into space, "And now, my son Methuselah, I have revealed everything to you and given you the books which concern all these things. Preserve, my son Methuselah, the books from your father's hand." So, and then he's talking about Göbekli Tepe here. In fact, ever more shafts and chambers have been located in and under the Great Pyramid. I, for my part, would not be surprised if books from Enoch with the messages from the ETs were found in the chambers. But I just want to recommend his work. And what I was saying is, like, you know, because I had, by way of introduction to this sort of topic, body of knowledge by Zecharia Sitchin, you know, when I saw Chariots of the Gods, I mean, I have a copy of it. I never really got into it because I just saw it like as more of the same, you know, like, well, I've already read Zecharia Sitchin. I don't really need to read that. However, with his latest book, Chariots of the Gods, I'm impressed. It's just, you get a lot of, to me, it's like you get the narrative of the ancient astronauts and all that, but he's also so knowledgeable about a wide variety of things. It's just like, you know, in the space of a couple of paragraphs, you get exposed to so much, and so that's what I really wanted to share with Eric von Daniken, and in particular the book "The Gods Never Left Us." You know, that's the book that I was just reading from. So highly recommend that book, and also just it's pretty cool to have a chariot to get around town in too. So anyway, namaste, namaskaram.